Okay, here's question 9. It's worth 2 marks. We multiply everything by 3 to x to the power of half. So we'll have 3x to the power of half times the first one, that's 2x to the negative half, and then 3x to the half multiplied by x. Now x is x to the power 1. Now we know that 3 times 2 is 6, so we're going to get that. But what about the 2x to the power items? Well, there's the law. Anything to a power multiplied by anything to another power, you just add the powers. So we can say 6x to the power of half, that's the first power, plus minus a half, that's the second power. And we do the same for the second part. We have x to the power of half times x to the power 1, so we add a half and 1. Now we can tidy this up. We get x to the power of 0 because these two things become 0, and then 1 and a half is the same as 3 halves. Now, what is x to the power of 0? We should know this. Any number to the power of 0 equals 1, so it's a 6 times 1 is 6, and then take away 3x to the power of 3 over 2, and that's the answer for 2 marks. Question 10. We want to calculate the length of AB. Now, we're also told BC and AC got these numbers, and we've got the cosine of this angle here is equal to negative a half. So what do we see? We see two sides and the angle between them, so we have to use the cosine rule. The cosine rule will be, this is small c squared, will be this squared plus that squared minus 2ab, which is the two numbers given, times cosine c, which is this number given here. Let's put them in. So put these in. Let's tidy this up. 2 squared becomes 4, 16. Now this negative goes with this negative to become a plus. Where does 8 come from? It's just 2 times 2 is 4 times 4 is 16, and half of that is 8. We can work that out. We get c squared equals 28, so c is root 28. But if we look down here, we want a simplified surd. Find a square number that divides 28. That's going to be 4. 4 times 7 makes 28. So one square root can be split into 2 square roots like this. We do it so we can get a number for this, which we know the square root of 4 is 2. So c equals 2 root 7, and that's the answer for 3 marks. Question 11. We have this function and we want to evaluate it when x is 6. That's not too difficult. There's a function. We're going to put 6 in for x. We get 5 over root 6, but we want a rational denominator. That means we don't want a root on the bottom. We want a normal number. So we do this. We multiply it by root 6 over root 6, which is the same as 1, which doesn't change it. And then we do the top two numbers, 5 root 6, and then the bottom becomes root 6 times root 6 is root 36, and root 36 is 6, and that denominator now is rational. Okay, 2 marks for that question. We want to solve this equation that has 2 fractions, quarters and fifths. We must get rid of these fractions, and the best way to do it is to multiply by 20, which is 4 times 5. So multiply everything by 20 and you get this. 20 times the first one, take away 20 times the second fraction equals 20 times 1. Don't forget 20 times 1 is 20. When you simplify this, 4 will divide 20 and 5 will divide 20, leaving 5x take away 4, x plus 2 equals 20. Let's multiply out the bracket. 5x take away 4x take away 8. Let's tidy it up. That becomes 1x, which is x. Take the 8 to the other side. So you get x take away 8 is 20. Take the 8 over now. So x will be 28, and that's the answer for 3 marks. Next question. A straight line has this equation. We want the gradient. Now, this is not in a good form for gradient. We want to get it into this form. We want y on its own. To get the gradient, it's mx. M is the gradient. So we have to change it into this form. So let's start with the equation. Now we have to move everything that's not y to the other side. I'm going to move the 4x across, that'll be negative 4x. Move the negative 20, that'll be plus. So I'll get 5y equals negative 4x plus 20. I don't want 5y, I need to get a single y. Divide by 5, divide by 5, divide by 5. That's y equals negative 4 over 5x plus 4. And then the gradient is the number in front of x. So the gradient equals negative 4 over 5. That's worth 2 marks. We also want the coordinates of the point where the line crosses the y-axis. Well, that's going to be x is 0, and then this number here gives you the y. So the answer is going to be 0,4, and that's worth 1 mark. Okay, on to number 14. We're told to make 2 comparisons between the production machines for this information. Well, let's see what we've got. We've got a mean of 32.5 grams. The new machine, it's gone down, so that the average has gone down. But the standard deviation was 2.3, now it's 1.1. Here are the 2 comparisons. On average, the weight produced by the new machine is lower because 31.9 is lower than 32.5. And the second thing we can say is the weights produced by the new machine are more consistent because the standard deviation is much smaller. It's 1.1 compared to 2.3. Okay, number 15. We have a cuboid and we have to show this. Well, let's look at this information. It says the length is x plus 5. That's the length L. The breadth is x plus 1, that's B, and the height is 2, H. Now, we're told the volume is 64, so we're going to have to work out the volume. There's the law for the volume, LBH. So we know that the volume is 64. We put the numbers, or not the numbers, but the expressions in for L, B, and H. So L becomes x plus 5. B becomes x plus 1 and H becomes 2. Now we have something multiplied by 2 is 64. Let's divide by 2 to get rid of the 2. So x plus 5 times x plus 1 is 32. And then if you multiply this out, you're going to get x squared plus 5x plus 2 equals 32, just multiplying these out. The 2 middle ones can go together here. And there's x squared plus 6x, take away 7, equals 0, and that's what we wanted to show, 2 marks. Now we want to get the value of x and state the length of the box. So we have, there is the equation, equal to 0. Now we want to factorise it. It's not too difficult to factorise. It's x minus 3, x plus 9. How do I get that? Minus 3 times 9 gives you minus 27. And minus 3 plus 9 gives you the 6 in the middle. Now we're going to get the answer for x. This could be 0 or this could be 0. So x could be 3 or x could be negative 9. We don't normally talk about a negative length, so we can cancel that. We've got x equals 3. If x equals 3, we want the length of the box. The length of the box is x plus 5. So it's 3 plus 5 is 8. And that's the answer for 3 marks. 3 more marks, it's 5 marks altogether for question 15. Okay,